Hey guys, how's it going? Ghostly Rich here today, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install this 5,000 watt 240 volt heater. Now the thing is I won't be showing you as an electrician should be installing that for you, the breaker and the power. I had this put in for a welder, so at the end of the day, if you don't have the 240 volt plug and you're not a certified electrician, if you care about your home insurance, get a electrician to do so. If not, I'm not going to show you how to do this, as you should watch a master electrician do that. Anyways, I will show you how to mount it and wire up this end though. Let's go ahead and show you this. If you look straight up, you'll see I have two pieces of green tape. The reason why is I took my stud finder and I went this way, and I know from mounting these lights, my joists run this way. Make sure you find out which way your joists run for when you're mounting. Once you've done so, and you've found the joist, make sure it's at least 3 feet away from that wall. You do not want it resting anywhere near the wall and whatnot, because if it is, it could potentially cause a fire, and you don't want that. Also, you'll notice I didn't mount it above my toolbox. Or, well, I should say this. It's because I do sometimes keep oils and stuff in here. You don't want any vapors or near any vapors that could catch fire. Again, I'm going to make sure I'm 3 feet off that wall, 3 feet off of here, and then, of course, nothing in front and to the sides and whatnot. I'm going to go ahead and simply put this up. You can even mark the first hole, or mount the hole, or mark the holes, and then measure off that wall and make sure all the holes are in line so you know your heater is completely square. Quick trick for you, for those of you that are too lazy to try and mark out to triangulate the holes. First thing you're going to do, just mark the center hole, hold your bracket up, say, yeah, it's about right here. Then you're going to mark the center hole, poke it with this to make sure you're going into wood. As long as you know what wood feels like. And then what you're going to do is put the center screw in first. Not completely tight, but pretty darn close and snug. And then you're going to measure from the back wall to this end and the back wall to this end to square it up after you have the center hole in. And then you can pre-drill the other two, put the screws in. Put the screw and the washer. Don't use anything too long, as again, this heater isn't very heavy, and the deeper the screw, the more chances you're going to hit something in those joists. So nice short screws like this are perfect. Now it might be hard for you to see from down here, but I've actually cocked the bracket in a little bit this way. So that way I'll be able to poke, it'll hit close to the edge of the joist header because it's about that thick. But I want it to be slightly bent in so it kind of pushes the warm air in on an angle and away from this area over here. I'd rather it come over here. I can't completely twist the heater as, well, I mean you could, but then it's only going to hang off one bolt. I'll leave that up to you. I would suggest at least mounting it off two. If you do that, you can twist it towards the center and then completely lean it in. I don't care for that. I'm just going to twist it slightly and put it in off of another 2 bolts. From this point, what I would do is go ahead and you can just make sure these hand thread in. The bigger ones go on the bottom. The bigger ones go on the bottom, smaller ones on top. I think it's funny that they put little keyhole slots in so you can keyhole it in when you can't even use those keyhole slots because there's no way that's fitting through. So you have to lift it up there, and I would just start with the 2 small ones up top first and then get your bottom ones in. Be the easiest way to do this. Unless you're having problems with that, then you could do the bottom ones first, whatever way you want to. The other thing I would do, if you want to, what I'm going to do is just pull off all the surrounding Phillips and slide that panel off so you can wire your heater in. All right, as you can see, I've mounted it there. You have to choose where you would like yours. Again, what will end up happening is having it aimed like so, it kind of shoots down at the windshield currently, which is the center of the garage, which is kind of what I want. I don't want it to just be aimed down and blasting me while I'm working on the car, because this is still quite a warm heater, and if I have the car over here, then it's not so bad. But even right here, let's say I have the hood up, you don't really want the heat directly on the hood or anything like that. I'd rather it be aimed in a way that it's in the middle of the shop and blasting the middle of the shop with all the heat. You do you. this is where it comes down to personal preference. Whatever you do, just don't have it blowing straight at an object. That's what I would try to do. Like that's super close. Like I wouldn't want to have it straight up and blowing right at that light. That wouldn't be good. So, and then of course you can direct the warm air with the fins. So that is the other benefit. So I could still mount it like this and see how the fins are like this. It's still gonna shoot the hot air here. So keep that in effect. So as we can see here, we've got some wire cover. My plan is that's my electrical panel right here. I'm gonna actually have this wire cover going all the way up here because I'm only gonna have it plugged in sometimes. So it's gonna be right here. For the most part, it's just gonna be hanging there. And then that'll go up there and come off the bottom and go to there. Now, Rich, that'd look kind of weird if you have that with the NMD90. So I'm gonna put this, which is just car heat shrink, on the orange. Yes, you'll still be able to see a bit of the orange underneath, but it'll give a black tinge, which will blend with everything else in here and then go down there. But like I said, the biggest thing is to keep it so it's not gonna get caught on anything and then come down here. Now we do have to use a knockout on the side of the box. As you can see, I have said knockout right here. It'll come through on an angle. Now usually for this, you'd want that braided cable, which is BR90, I think is what it is. Anyways, BR90 is still a beautiful cable, and if I had BR90, I'd probably use that instead because you could literally have just a silver cable there and use little eyelet clamps and just clamp it, or put a metal conduit down to right here. And the metal conduit always looks nice too. I just don't have a piece of metal conduit right now. I do have this, and again, it's gonna go down the wall, behind the toolbox, and then literally, I might even just bring another piece of that white out because I have so much of this wire track, and just bring it here and have the plug kind of just hanging over here, because then when I do use it, it just comes up and hangs, or I'll bring it up and over here, unplugs, plugs back in, blah, 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 because it will be a dual use. It'll also be used for that air compressor over there, and it'll also be used for if I have a welder in here, because I don't want them both to go to the panel because I'll never be able to use two of these because my panel is already pretty maxed out. If I wasn't near max, I would probably just wire it right in, but I literally have no more breaker spots. So for right now, I'll show you how I end up doing it. Let's go ahead and lay out the land, as one would say. Pretty easy, just use a small flat blade, get in between the plate like this, and then bust it out. That's all I did there. Then put this end through there, like so, and then tighten the metal ring, that looks like this, on the other side. And then you can also aim it or leave it a little loose right now. Doesn't matter if you leave it loose, just make sure you tighten it at the end so it's not wiggling all over the place. Tip, if you pull this down, I can't already, but if it's down here and you tighten it, then what you'll do is you'll slowly turn this up and it'll get tighter, tighter. If you hold that ring with your other hand, get tighter, tighter until it's fully locked in right there. And you won't be able to, then you don't even have to use a wrench. Anyways, it's fully locked in now. I'm probably gonna put a strain relief on the back here. And then from here, it's gonna go from the back to the wall, down the white, and so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and get our wire prepped. So there is my piece that I wanna use. I'm gonna go ahead and I cut it to length. If you're using this and for some reason you're using this, make sure you burn the end so that way it doesn't peel. From here, I'm just gonna slide it over that wire. I'm gonna throw a piece of heat shrink over it about that far down because it'll be in the coupler, and then I'll cut the extra and so on that I need for when I'm wiring up the coupler. So again, heat shrink there and a piece of heat shrink down there. The heat shrink down there won't really matter. And again, the heat shrink is just to keep it from sliding. If you don't want a heat shrink, tell you what, take some electrical tape, because that's what it's designed for, and just tape it because no one's ever gonna see it. This, just give it the old pulling stroke. It gets big, and then you move it down the line. It's hard to do one-handed, because I always use two, you know. And then, like I said, just keep working it down. There you go. Tape, looking solid. Gonna go ahead, get this part all strapped in up there, because once it's strapped in, cleaning it up and bringing it down and terminating the end isn't a big deal. At this point, we could technically terminate the heater side and then work out and cut off the extra. Here, if you take a look, you'll be able to see that there is you can see a bit of the copper, but anyways, they want 13 millimeters worth of copper. And then what you would do is just tie in, L1 is white, L2 is black, and then tighten your lugs for 10 gauge down to about 36 inch-pounds. If you care to know that, it's not very much. Make sure you use an inch-pounds. I'm not saying foot-pounds for these legs. After you tighten them down, like so, you can strap this in. I'll probably squish it down so it straps in, even though this is so cheap that it'd probably just break if it got tugged on. And then from there, we can start finishing up and running our wire. See, I got it started. Before I finish, make sure you put a level on it, have a straight edge, peel the rest of it, and stick it to the wall. Again, I'm probably gonna put a tie with an eye. I'll show you what that looks like up there with a sheet metal screw. I'll put that in the spot up there. I'll leave that center hole open. So rather than replacing it with the hole or the screw it comes with, I'll just put in a bigger screw and thread it into that center hole, and I'll be able to zip tie a strap as a strain relief on there. That goes down to there, ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. That's where we wire the plug. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap back on. As you can see, just a little gap because I don't want it chafing on there. That's tightened, looks nice. Tie with an eye through that screw hole with a screw that's just a tiny bit bigger. So that way I can accommodate it. I'll cut that zip tie, comes here, down, there. Now I'll put the end on and trim that. Double check your plug. As you can see, mine is like that, so it's like that. If yours, see how it kind of goes sideways here, you might have to use, a lot of these will come with a spare blade. You might have to slip that blade in instead of this one, and that's just to make sure that you, well, do it correctly. As you can see, if you read the top of your plug, black, green, white. White goes to the little guy, black one goes to the big guy, and green goes to the small guy. And make sure you translate it over here. I didn't show you this last time. So if you hold this like that, I now know how long I need that ground. It needs to come down and kind of go on an angle, but we're trying to make sure the ground does not, for any reason, touch either sides of the post. And then from here, you can take your X-Acto blade and run it down the center, because the center is the ground. So you're not gonna have to worry about cutting anything there. You don't want to run it down the sides, because if you do, then you can score the white jacket or the black jacket. So make sure you run it down the center and then peel back your sheath. Might show up. Don't forget to follow your strip gauge. As you can see, so did I. Made sure that it's the exact gauge length it wants, and we'll go from there. And get these back to 36, just like you did up top. Perfect. Another thing for you is, if you run a very dusty shop, like a woodworking shop, obviously be careful with the heater anyways, it's combustible, but also make sure you're blowing out, if you're constantly disconnecting, connecting, blowing this out just for dust buildup, because otherwise it can create arcing, heat, and then it'll melt. So that's another reason to make sure these lugs are in the grooves like so. Make sure this ground goes down the center, not going to the post right here. I mean, if it grounds out, all it's going to do is it's going to trip your breaker. But still, better to not have that happen. And then from here, we're just going to rubber donut, yeah, all the way down here, and then tighten this up so it clamps and gives us some clamping force. All right, once you're confident with that, again, I'm probably gonna use my side cutter really quickly and just trim this extra, even though it doesn't really matter with the ground. It's just the other two, I would definitely try to make sure you don't have as much sticking out the bottom. Make sure you tighten your clamp down. Once your clamp is down to your liking and that rubber is holding, you can put that back cover on, click, swing, put the 2 screws in, and then we're ready to plug it in. Now, if you want to be safe, turn your breaker off, plug it in, then flick your breaker. Make sure you put some eye protection on. Well, boys and squirrels, as soon as I plugged it in, she started operating. Again, that's just because I've already set the thermostat to on. Let's see if we're gonna start to feel some heat. Oh yeah, we're already starting to feel heat. Again, I have it on 5,000. You can put it to 3,000 or 4,000, whatever you wanna do. And then you'll have that little arrow right here from which you can set the thermostat to medium or low, medium, high, whatever you wanna do. I'm gonna have it on medium. And then let's see how, man, it's already starting to put off some really good heat. If I close that garage door, I bet you this place is gonna get warm really quick. Anyways, I hope this video helped you out. And yeah, that's how I'll run it for now. Thanks again for watching. Press a like if it helped you out, subscribe for more. And again, if you don't feel comfortable with the wiring portion, there is heaters available, especially on Amazon, that already have that plug all wired. It's already done. The wiring isn't that bad. It's just making sure that you take the time, make sure those lugs are tightened down properly, as you do not want those wires, of course, being loose and then creating any sort of gap and then arcing, because arcing is what creates heat and then melts the plug, melts and causes fires and stuff. Make sure whatever you do, yeah, keep her nice and tight. And that's it. Anyways, have a great day.